First blush, and again, it very much is first blush.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's okay.
We
are all getting this in real time,
and I think we have some more copies coming to the desk right now, too.
I think people who are at home are probably getting ready to read through this as well. This is John Eastman here. You see him on your screen right now. He is named as one of the defendants in this criminal indictment handed up by the Fulton County Grand Jury. John Eastman sent memos to the Trump campaign outlining a plan where Mike Pence, the vice president at the time, could refuse to count some of Biden's 2020 electoral college votes. Also, during a Georgia State Senate hearing on December of 2020, Eastman told lawmakers that they had the duty to replace the state's slate of Democratic electors, citing widespread voter fraud that was later debunked by Georgia Secretary of State's Elections Board investigation and others. And finally, we should note John Eastman is a former law clerk of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
All right, people, welcome back to the Jack Mockler podcast. The legal walls are closing in on Trump's inner circle from every direction. Handcuffs, arrest warrants, and contempt findings with real prison cells are finally catching up to those who thought they were untouchable. Capitol Hill is in a panic, and the game is over. Let me tell you exactly what is happening, because this is not one isolated case in one courtroom somewhere. This is not a single judge making a single decision. This is a coordinated legal collapse that is happening across multiple jurisdictions simultaneously. Federal judges are moving. State judges are moving. Contempt findings are being issued. Arrest warrants are being signed. And every single person who helped Donald Trump try to overturn American democracy is now facing the very real possibility of spending years behind bars.
Another person that is listed in this indictment is attorney Jenna Ellis. She was among the Trump allies who testified in the Georgia Senate about voter fraud. In December of 2020, Fulton County prosecutors say Ellis continued to push claims of voter fraud even after state officials debunked them.
When I think about Jenna Ellis, I really think about Vice President Mike Pence. And she was the one who wanted him to ignore the Electoral College. And that certainly had played in the events of that first week of January, that all of this was certainly a part of it. But Jenna Ellis certainly is part of this.
The next person that we want to talk about here that's listed in it is Trump's former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani. In 2018, he became Trump's personal attorney and then a key lawyer for the campaign after the 2020 election. Giuliani fueled the flames of rumors that there was election fraud in Georgia.
This is not speculation. This is not political theater. This is the legal system finally doing what it was always supposed to do, holding power accountable. For years, the Trump legal strategy was simple and effective. Delay everything. File motion after motion. Appeal every decision. Run out the clock. Make the legal system so exhausted and so bogged down that nothing could ever actually happen. And for years, that strategy worked brilliantly. Cases stalled. Investigations dragged on. The public got confused. The media moved on to the next outrage. And Trump and his inner circle skated by without ever facing real consequences. But here is what they never counted on.
He was also behind this presentation to the Georgia Senate claiming that there was ballot stuffing in State Farm Arena. That's right here. He testified before the Georgia Senate panel in December of 2020 that has become a central part of both local and federal investigations.
And we had an interview with him tonight where he was on the streets of New York, where he was asked about the impending indictments in which he faced. He said these are all political and dynamic, that you have a man in Donald Trump, who is the GOP leader at this point, and in all probability will be the nominee, at least according to Mr. Giuliani, and said that this is all political in dynamic and in nature. Mark Meadows, the former Trump chief of staff, also mentioned on this. He was also on the line for the infamous Raffensperger phone call and stuck alongside the president in the aftermath of the 2020 election. Prosecutors say that there were emails and meetings and a surprise visit to Georgia made for the benefit of his boss. Before joining then President Trump in the White House, Mr. Meadows was a congressman from North Carolina.
The judges finally getting completely and utterly fed up. The courts finally saying enough is enough. The legal system finally refusing to play the delay game anymore. Right now, right this very second, arrest warrants are active with the names of Trump's closest allies on them: Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, John Eastman, Jeffrey Clark, all the architects of the plot to overturn the 2020 election, all the people who helped plan January 6th, all the people who worked directly with Trump to attack the foundations of American democracy. They all have arrest warrants with their names on them. They all have contempt charges pending. They all know that prison is coming for them. This is not some distant threat. This is not a warning.
Good morning and welcome to CBS News Mornings. It's just about 7 a.m. here in New York City. I'm Wendy Gillette. We begin with more legal trouble for Donald Trump. The former president is facing 13 new criminal charges this morning after being indicted by a Georgia grand jury. It's the fourth time Trump has been indicted in 5 months. Trump and 18 allies are accused of trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in the state. Jared Hill has more.
New legal trouble for former President Donald Trump.
A Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment.
Georgia District Attorney Fonnie Willis late Monday with the 41-count indictment against the GOP frontrunner and 18 of his allies.
The defendants engaged in a criminal racketeering enterprise to overturn Georgia's presidential election result.
The indictment, unsealed before cameras, also names former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and Trump's one-time personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
This is the moment where the legal system stopped talking and started acting. The Georgia case is where the most serious charges are being prosecuted. A grand jury indicted Trump and 18 allies in a sweeping action. 19 people total, 41 felony counts, 97 pages of detailed allegations, and every single one of those 19 people has an actual arrest warrant issued by a judge. The charges are devastating: racketeering, conspiracy, election fraud, wire fraud. These are not minor offenses. These carry mandatory minimum sentences. These mean years in federal prison.
The former New York City mayor, one of those accused of racketeering and conspiracy for allegedly putting in calls to pressure local officials and making false statements about election fraud. Overnight, Giuliani called the indictment part of a book of lies. Georgia's former Republican Lieutenant Governor, Jeff Duncan, testified before the grand jury yesterday.
My hope is that Americans believe us. My hope is that Republicans believe us.
The investigation was first sparked by Trump's January 2021 phone call with Georgia's Secretary of State.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
Trump has maintained he didn't do anything wrong, and his campaign called the indictment election interference. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Joining us now to break down what comes next legally in the Georgia investigation is Nick Lewis. He's the founder and managing partner of the Lewis Law Firm in Washington. So according to the indictment, former President Trump and his allies have been charged with violation of the Georgia RICO Act. Can you explain the significance of adding a RICO charge, and what does the prosecution need to prove for a conviction?
And the evidence backing these charges is overwhelming. Phone calls where Trump directly pressured officials to find votes, text messages showing coordinated efforts to submit fake electoral certificates, emails documenting the conspiracy in real time, recorded conversations where the plot was openly discussed. Every person indicted in Georgia was given a specific deadline to surrender. Noon. Not a suggestion, not a flexible target. Noon means noon. The district attorney made it absolutely crystal clear that this deadline was not optional, not negotiable, not something that could be pushed back or extended for any reason. And when that deadline passed, the legal system started moving. People started surrendering to authorities. People started facing arraignment hearings. People started sitting in front of judges who were not interested in excuses or delays. And then there is Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor. A man who thought he could simply ignore a subpoena from Congress. A man who believed he was above the law. He reported to a federal facility. He is sitting in a prison cell right now. He was convicted of criminal contempt of Congress for defying the January 6th committee. He refused to turn over documents. He refused to testify about what he knew. And a judge sent him to prison. Not next year. Not after appeals. Right now. He is serving time. He is behind bars. The theoretical threat of prison became a reality for someone in Trump's inner circle, and that reality changes everything. The January 6th committee's final report recommended serious federal charges for multiple people in Trump's orbit: Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Jeffrey Clark. These were not suggestions. These were formal criminal referrals backed by mountains of evidence, thousands of pages of documents, hundreds of witness interviews, text messages and emails and recordings that proved beyond any doubt that a conspiracy existed to overturn the election. And now judges are actively moving on those referrals. Now prosecutors are bringing charges. Now people are facing real consequences. The panic on Capitol Hill is palpable. Everyone in Trump's orbit knows exactly what is coming next. They know the arrest warrants are real and enforceable. They know that judges are serious about consequences. They know that prison is a genuine possibility for them personally. And that knowledge is causing absolute chaos. Some people have already decided to cooperate with prosecutors to save themselves. Some have taken plea deals and admitted guilt. Some have decided that loyalty to Donald Trump is absolutely not worth spending years in federal prison. And those decisions are creating a domino effect that is accelerating the collapse of Trump's entire defense strategy. This is the convergence of everything simultaneously: the Georgia RICO case, the January 6th contempt charges, the election interference investigations, the classified documents cases. All of it is coming down on Trump's team at exactly the same time. There is no way out. No legal strategy works when a judge is directly ordering your arrest. No delay tactic stops a contempt charge. No appeal erases an arrest warrant from existence. The walls are closing in from every side, and Trump's inner circle knows it. Now let me break down exactly why this situation is so devastating to Trump's legal position. Because this is not just one case sitting somewhere. This is not just one judge making a decision. This is a coordinated collapse of Trump's entire legal defense system happening simultaneously. Judges in multiple jurisdictions are all moving at the same time, all issuing warrants, all finding contempt, all sending a message that the era of delay and evasion is completely over. The game has changed. The rules have changed. And Trump's inner circle is waking up to a new reality they never thought would come. Let me start with Georgia because that is where the most serious charges are being prosecuted. The Fulton County RICO indictment against Trump and 18 co-defendants is absolutely massive. The charges are backed by overwhelming evidence, phone calls where Trump is literally directing people to overturn the election, text messages where he is asking officials to find votes that do not exist anywhere, recorded conversations where he is pressuring election officials to change certified results, emails where he is threatening officials who refuse to cooperate. The evidence is devastating to his defense, and every single person indicted in Georgia has an arrest warrant with their name on it. That means if they do not surrender voluntarily by the deadline, they can be arrested at any time, at home in the morning, at work during the day, walking down the street, at the airport trying to leave the country. The warrant does not care about their schedule or their plans or their convenience or their family emergencies. An arrest warrant means law enforcement can come get you whenever they want. It means you have to surrender or you are a fugitive from justice. It means your entire life changes immediately. You cannot travel freely. You cannot live your normal life. You are constantly looking over your shoulder. The district attorney in Georgia was crystal clear about the surrender deadline. She said it was not optional, not flexible, not something that could be negotiated or extended or pushed back. Noon means noon. That is a deadline, and it is absolutely firm. And when that deadline came and went, people started surrendering to authorities. When they surrendered, they faced arraignment hearings in front of a judge. They faced bail hearings where they had to convince a judge they would show up for trial. They faced the reality that they could go to prison for years if convicted. Some of them took plea deals immediately. Some of them cooperated with prosecutors right away. Some of them fought the charges, but they all faced the legal reality that they were caught with evidence. Think about who these people are. Rudy Giuliani, Trump's former personal attorney, one of the most prominent members of Trump's entire inner circle, a former mayor of New York City who was once respected across party lines, a man who stood next to Trump at every rally and told lie after lie about election fraud. He pushed the big lie. He told people the election was stolen. He told people votes were fraudulent, and now he has an arrest warrant in Georgia because he was part of the scheme. He has to face trial on serious RICO charges which carry mandatory minimum sentences. He faces potential prison time measured in years. There is no way around it. No legal strategy saves him. Mark Meadows, Trump's former chief of staff. He was literally in the White House during January 6th, in the Situation Room, watching events unfold in real time, getting text messages from people on the ground. He has text messages showing his direct involvement in the coup attempt, emails showing he was coordinating with other defendants, recordings showing he knew exactly what Trump was doing, and now he has an arrest warrant in Georgia, contempt charges in federal court, criminal referrals from the January 6th committee that are being investigated. He has to answer for his actions in multiple jurisdictions, multiple judges, multiple trials. John Eastman, the lawyer who drafted the fake electoral certificates for states that Trump lost, the lawyer who told Trump he had legal authority to overturn the election results, the lawyer who helped coordinate the January 6th attack by providing legal cover for unconstitutional actions. He has serious criminal charges pending. He has contempt findings from judges who have ruled against him repeatedly. He has arrest warrants in multiple states. He is facing prison time if convicted, and his legal defenses have been systematically demolished by judges. Jeffrey Clark, the Department of Justice official who tried to send a letter to Georgia election officials pressuring them to overturn results and flip votes to Trump. A government employee who was willing to abuse his position and his authority to help Trump overturn an election. A person who attempted to weaponize the Justice Department against democracy. He has been convicted of crimes. He has contempt charges pending. He faces arrest and imprisonment. He is sitting in his home knowing that law enforcement can come get him at any time. And then there is Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor, a man who refused to comply with a subpoena from the January 6th committee, a man who defied a direct court order, a man who refused to turn over documents and testify about what he knew about January 6th. He went to prison. He is sitting in a federal facility right now, serving time for contempt of Congress. This is not a threat anymore. This is not theoretical. This is reality. He is behind bars. This is what happens when you defy the law. This is what happens when you think you are above the legal system. This is what happens when you refuse to cooperate with investigations into crimes against democracy. The January 6th committee's final report recommended criminal charges for all of these people and more. The committee had mountains of evidence, testimony from people who were there, documents showing crimes being committed, and they handed all of that evidence over to federal prosecutors who took it seriously. They made formal criminal referrals. And now judges are acting on those referrals aggressively. Now prosecutors are bringing serious charges. Now people are going to prison. Here is what makes this situation even more devastating for Trump's inner circle: the contempt power that judges have. Judges have enormous power to hold people in contempt for defying court orders, for lying under oath, for refusing to cooperate with the legal process. Multiple judges have already found Trump-era officials in contempt of court. They have warned that they will appoint independent prosecutors if the Justice Department refuses to act on their findings. They have made it absolutely clear that contempt is a direct path to arrest and imprisonment. This is the thing about contempt that people do not fully understand. It is not something that requires a jury trial. It is not something that requires a lot of evidence or testimony. If a judge orders you to do something and you refuse, that is contempt. If a judge tells you to turn over documents and you do not comply, that is contempt. If a judge tells you to testify and you refuse to show up, that is contempt. And judges can punish contempt immediately without waiting for a trial. Judges can hold you in jail until you comply with their order. Judges can impose massive fines. Judges have enormous power when someone defies their orders directly. And right now, judges across the country are using that power aggressively against Trump's inner circle. This is the moment where the legal system finally stopped talking and started acting decisively. This is the moment where words became reality, where threats became actual warrants, where indictments became real prison sentences. Capitol Hill is on fire because everyone in Trump's orbit knows exactly what is coming next. They know that arrest warrants are real and enforceable. They know that judges are serious about consequences. They know that prison is a real possibility for them personally. Some people have already decided to cooperate with prosecutors to save themselves. Some people have already decided to take plea deals and admit guilt. Some people have already decided that loyalty to Trump is absolutely not worth going to prison for years. And those decisions are cascading through Trump's organization, causing chaos. As more people cooperate, as more people give testimony against their former allies, as more evidence comes out, the situation gets dramatically worse for everyone still holding out. Let me tell you exactly what all of this means for Trump and his inner circle right now. And let me be absolutely clear about what is going to happen next in the legal system. This is not speculation. This is not prediction. This is the documented legal process moving forward in real time. First, understand that the arrest warrants are completely real and they are immediate. This is not something that might happen in the future. This is not a theoretical scenario. This is something that is happening right now. If you are one of the 18 people indicted in Georgia and you have not surrendered voluntarily, you can be arrested at any time without warning. Law enforcement can come to your house in the morning. Law enforcement can take you into custody at your office. Law enforcement can take you into custody anywhere you are found. You become a fugitive from justice if you do not comply with the arrest warrant. This is not theoretical anymore. This is not a legal argument you can debate. This is an active threat with real consequences happening in real time. For people like Giuliani and Meadows and Eastman and Clark, surrender to authorities means facing actual trial in court. It means sitting in a courtroom while prosecutors present evidence against you for weeks or months. It means listening to witnesses testify about your crimes in detail. It means hearing your own text messages and emails read out loud in open court. It means having your own words used against you by the prosecution. And it means facing the very real possibility of a guilty verdict and a prison sentence measured in years, not months. That is why people are panicking right now. That is why they are desperately looking for deals with prosecutors. That is why some of them are cooperating with prosecutors to reduce their sentences. Second, the contempt charges are completely separate from the main cases, and they are incredibly serious and dangerous. Even if someone somehow beats the Georgia RICO charges, even if they get acquitted after trial, they still have contempt charges to deal with separately. Contempt is not about what happened years ago in the past. Contempt is about defying court orders right now in the present. Contempt is about refusing to cooperate with investigations right now. Contempt is about lying under oath right now. And judges can punish contempt immediately without waiting for anything. Judges can hold people in jail until they comply with the court order. Judges can impose massive fines that drain bank accounts. This is a completely separate path to prison that does not require a full jury trial or any jury at all. Peter Navarro went to prison for contempt, specifically. He did not get a full criminal trial. He did not have a jury of 12 people decide his case. A judge found him in contempt for defying a subpoena from the January 6th committee, and he went straight to prison. That is how fast contempt works in the legal system. That is how serious judges are taking these cases right now. If you defy a court order, if you refuse to comply with a subpoena, if you lie under oath to a judge can send you to prison immediately without hesitation. And that is exactly what is happening to Trump's people right now systematically. Third, the cooperation of other defendants is accelerating the collapse of Trump's entire defense strategy. As more people take plea deals and admit guilt, as more people cooperate with prosecutors and testify, as more people testify against Trump and the others, the evidence against everyone else gets exponentially stronger. Text messages get corroborated by multiple witnesses. Phone calls get confirmed by people who were listening. Statements made in public get verified by people who were present. and every single person who cooperates with prosecutors makes it dramatically harder for the others to maintain their lies and denials. Every person who testifies against Trump makes it harder for judges and juries to believe Trump's version of events. This is a classic domino effect in criminal law. One person cooperates and suddenly everyone else is in a much weaker position. Everyone else is exposed. Some of Trump's closest allies have already started cooperating with federal prosecutors. Some of them have taken plea deals and agreed to cooperate. Some of them have decided that loyalty to Trump is absolutely not worth spending years in federal prison. And those decisions are poison in the well for everyone else still fighting, because now prosecutors have insiders testifying against their former allies. Now prosecutors have people who were in the room when decisions were made about the election. Now prosecutors have people who can explain exactly what Trump knew and what Trump did, and when he knew it. And that testimony is absolutely devastating to everyone involved in the conspiracy. Fourth, the judges are completely done waiting and done being patient. Judge Tanya Chutkan in the federal cases has made it crystal clear that she is not going to tolerate delay tactics anymore. Judge Scott McAfee in Georgia has made it explicitly clear that he is going to move forward with the trial schedule. Judges across the country have found Trump officials in contempt of court and warned that they will appoint independent prosecutors if the Justice Department does not act on their findings. The judges are essentially taking over the prosecution themselves because they are tired of waiting. They are tired of seeing delay tactics used. They are tired of Trump's team stalling and evading and asking for extensions. And now they are issuing arrest warrants and contempt findings and moving forward no matter what Trump's lawyers do. This means that Trump's lawyers cannot use the delay strategy that worked before. They cannot just file motion after motion endlessly. They cannot just ask for extension after extension. The judges are not granting those delay requests anymore. The judges are saying enough is enough. Enough delays. Enough excuses. We are moving forward with this trial. Your client has an arrest warrant. Your client needs to surrender. Your client needs to face trial immediately. And if you try to delay further or file frivolous motions, we will hold you in contempt too. This is the end of the road for delay tactics. This strategy does not work anymore. So what happens next? Trials are going to move forward on the judge's schedule, not the defense's schedule. Juries are going to see all the evidence prosecutors have gathered. People are going to be convicted of serious crimes. People are going to go to prison. The domino effect is going to continue accelerating as more people flip and cooperate with prosecutors. The evidence is going to get stronger and more convincing as more people testify, and Trump's entire inner circle is going to realize that they have been completely abandoned. Trump is not going to pardon them while he is under federal indictment himself. Trump is not going to risk his own legal position to help them. Trump is looking out for Trump. So they are going to be on their own facing serious prison time measured in years. This is what happens when you try to overturn an election. This is what happens when you participate in a coup attempt against democracy. This is what happens when you defy court orders and lie under oath to judges. You go to prison. You face real consequences. You lose your freedom. You spend years behind bars. And right now, Trump's entire inner circle is facing that legal reality directly. They have arrest warrants with their names on them. They have contempt charges pending. They have criminal trials coming. They have cooperators giving testimony against them. They have judges who are done waiting and done with the delay tactics. And they have no way out of this situation. The legal system is finally functioning as it should. Judges are issuing arrest warrants, juries are convicting, and people are going to prison. Trump's inner circle, who broke the law and defied court orders, are now facing the consequences with nowhere left to run.